Hello everybody, welcome to the version 1.0 of Roboquest. It has been a long journey. I've been following the game since, I think shortly after it came out, so really cool. French developer from Lyon, a city I've been to numerous times, so also a little bit of home turf here. Yeah, first things first, as always, you're gonna get into the settings here, but I'm really curious to see how the game's gonna shape up for us. Yeah, so I don't know, I'm just gonna change a little bit. Here, okay, so they did change a lot here, so we're gonna have to redo our settings entirely, I guess. Which is fine, it's version 1.0. I don't want hit markers. I like rotating the minimap. Sure. Yeah, sure, that's cool. FPS counter, I don't think we need that. Camera shake is on, enable ranking. As far as I know, I left that on, but I'm not sure. Reset or crosshair, yes. And the dynamic crosshair we're gonna turn off. We're gonna use a white crosshair, and we're gonna use a dots. That's basically what we're gonna do. 100% opacity, then controls. Ooh, that's different. Yeah, we might need to redo this, unfortunately. Yeah, first of the thing is, I don't even know if they actually match. Yeah, we have to see if this is the aspect ratio we want. So everything here, unfortunately, was reset. Yeah, so we have to do all this again. So we're gonna do this in-game, but I'm just gonna take what I had before and maybe it's gonna be fine. But unfortunately, these values we're gonna have to double check in-game. Auto reload always, sprint move, toggle, crouch, hold, forward, backwards, sprint, jump, crouch, primary ability, secondary ability, fire, alt, fire, reload, drop weapon, weapon 1, 2, switch weapon, next weapon. Yeah, I don't want that. Can I unbind it? Yeah, I really don't like that. Let's just put it somewhere else here. Yeah, I don't want to have any shortcuts for that. Interact E, perk selector is T, control panel tab, menu M, screenshot mode, thing. Primary ability, secondary ability. Should be okay. I mean, we're gonna do this in game again, per character probably. Okay, so we're gonna go with full screen here, and we even could go with 4K, but there actually is no reason for that. FOV, we want 103, I think it's horizontal, right? Yeah, so I think it's horizontal, so I'm just gonna go with 103. I hope the game doesn't crash on all tab, because I quickly want to check if both the feeds are going fine. Yeah, this feed's going fine, and this one also. Since we're simulcasting on YouTube and Twitch, as always, better quality on YouTube, a lot better. AV1, 144p, 30k bitrate there, and 6k bitrate, 1080p 60 on Twitch, which is the maximum. So better quality on YouTube, better chatting experience on Twitch. Yeah, that's basically what it is. Okay, I hope the game doesn't crash when I tab out, because it's going to be a bit more annoying to deal with this. No color blindness filter. Really? That's kind of weird. Why would you go with 8x, not 16x? surprising. Didn't notice this one, I think, before. Yeah, so no motion blur setting. I just assume it's off because the developer is competent so far. Yeah, maybe I'll talk a little bit about how did I like the game in early access. I think I'm just gonna increase the I don't know if is this the base volume of the game? Kind of unsure. It's gonna get loud now. Don't be too surprised. Yeah, so I hope it's not too loud now. I'm just gonna double check, but I think it should be fine. Yeah, it should be fine. I mean, it's loud, no doubt about it, but I'm pretty sure it's gonna be better. Yeah, my early impressions of the game so far, in over 100 hours played in early access and finishing the highest difficulties there. I must basically say it's one of my favorite games of all time, yeah. It's 10 out of 10 easily for me, already in early access. I really like the game. It's a roguelite FPS and it's really fun to play. And it has full co-op, which I never tested, so I can't really talk too much about that. Okay, we're gonna start the adventure, but heads up, I'm gonna have to do the mouse settings again. Because I don't really remember what exactly the game now will have as a setting. So that's going to take a few minutes, but after that we're good to go. Yeah, I wasn't sure if there was going to be voiceover, so I just opted not to voice over it. We're now in the desert, the starting area of the game, and I can already tell one thing. The sensitivity is completely different, right? It changed completely. So what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna go look at my Premiere site for these settings. I can also tell you what it is. It is called mousesensitivity.com, and it has a lot of great conversion tools for sensitivity when it comes to FPS, and also other games and FOV information, all that. And I'm just curious to see if they updated it, which we will see immediately by putting in the current value we have. Okay, so yeah, unfortunately, the setting doesn't seem to be accurate, right? Because we have like the lowest sensitivity I've ever seen in my life here. So Roboquest is not accurate on the site anymore, so it's going to be updated pretty soon, I suppose, because the developer so far has been very fast through reacting to changes, and I'm pretty sure it's going to be fixed in no time. But at the moment, unfortunately, the game does not seem to have the site does not seem to have reliable information about Roboquest. So yeah, so what we have to do here is change our settings, and I can't remember the relative stuff either, so all we can do now, first of all, is go back into Windows. I think Alt-Tab doesn't crash, which is very good news. And go back to our default DPI here. And now we're gonna have to do it the old school way by just basically setting it up. We don't have a crosshair here at the moment. I'm pretty sure we're gonna get one. Just in a moment. Okay, close combat. Punch with your bash or head bonk it by jumping on its head. Yeah, the game has a cool mechanic where you can jump on enemies just like in Mario, and that's pretty cool. Right, so we can just kill him. I'm just gonna wait until we get a weapon so I can actually move my camera faster. Perfect. Okay. Max is special, classic. My special lower crosshair increases the vertical you can perceive. The classic center crosshair, it works fine, but well, you know, it's not mine. I would advise anyone to pick the centered one because the additional visibility, it was one of the issues Total Biscuit brought up with, I think, Borderlands back in the day when he was still alive. And he said that the guns take too much visual space, so he really likes to have a lowered crosshair to increase the visibility, right? But in my opinion, it's way less efficient because it's very easy for the brain to understand the principle of a centered, of a, you know, square, and just going lower with that just makes intuitive aiming a bit harder. So in my opinion, you should not use the lowered crosshair setting. At least not if you plan on playing other FPS as well. Okay, but now that we have the crosshair, we can finally do the setup here. And the sensitivity seems to be a lot easier to set up now because you have way more values in between. Let's just start with 60. And what I like to do to set up the sensitivity in FPS is pretty simple. I just try to find a relatively vertical element, for example here this door frame. I take my trusty ruler here, and then I just do a 360 and measure the distance. Yeah, and I have a target value of roughly 33 point something centimeters. I want to hit. I usually don't want to be lower, so I'm just going to aim for 34 roughly measuring here. And all I'm going to do is just a slight rotation, just like this. And then I'm going to take this as a base value. I'm going to see that it's way too high. And since it's way too high, what I'm going to do is go back into the settings and just lower it maybe by 10 here. And then we're going to do a sort of 360 again. And just like that, we're going to home in on the sensitivity that matches closest to what I actually want in the game. Okay, this is way closer, but still not close enough, so we're just going to go with 40. I'm expecting it to be too low now, but that depends on how they designed the values you put in, like how they convert to actual movement. But I was right, it's slightly too low, but not by much, so we can just go back in and maybe put it at, let's say 44. Maybe it's a good value here. We're at 44 now. And that's at 1600 DPI in Windows. Not Windows, in my case, the mouse the mouse driver software in this case is the Logitech G Hub. Okay, and we did wait, I didn't see an FPS setting. I'm just gonna have to double check that quickly. Okay, so this seems to be slightly too fast. So what I'm gonna do here is just decrease it by 1 here. Like that, and now I'm pretty sure it's going to be close enough to what I actually want to use throughout the game. But I'm going to double check it a few times. So yeah, seems to be maybe a bit too high now still, so maybe we're going to lower it one more. I'm trying to be as accurate as possible. Yeah, I assume this is a little bit too fast still, so I'm going to go for 42. And that should hopefully be right on the money, but I don't know. Might not be. Sometimes the scales are not as accurate. Yeah, maybe even a 41 would be feasible here. Yeah, I still wish devs just did a... Yeah, I still think a 41's feasible. But I wish devs would just put in the unit, right, in either for inches or centimeters, because it's an easy conversion, right? You know the FOV of your engine, you know how this value translates, and you know you can basically ask for the DPI. So all the user has to do is input DPI, and then how much, what value in centimeters he wants to have, and you can just do the math yourself as a developer with an easy formula, and then everybody would have the same sensitivity in every game. But yeah, that's kind of wishful thinking at this point, because the console market has a way more complicated way of setting things because of aim assist and acceleration and all that stuff. So sticks are way more inconsistent to set up. Yeah, so I think this is going to be the value I'm going to stick with, but I'm just, you know, double checking quickly. Also going to write it down so we don't have to change it again. Yeah, I would say this is the perfect value, just a third time to make sure. And then there are two more things we're going to have to set up, unfortunately. One of which we can't set up at the moment because we don't have a scope on this weapon. But yeah, I think this is pretty close to what I want to have. I think, right? I'm just going to make sure it really is. Yeah, I kind of suck ass today because it's kind of cold. Yeah, I think this is perfect, right? Okay, so now I'm going to put our ruler away because we don't need that one anymore, because everything we do now is going to be relative to the sensitivity we set up now. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to test for vertical and horizontal sensitivity. The way you do that is pretty simple. You find a place where you know where you're looking roughly 90 degrees. You're roughly 90 degrees away from looking away from something. So what you do here is we're going to go from this position here to the left. We're going to measure that distance quickly, just like that. Although I like to do it the other way around more, so I'm just going to go like this. Here, this is roughly going to be roughly 90 degrees. We're going to do this and go there. So this is basically the distance we have over here. Just going to do it again to make sure I didn't fuck it up. Yeah, so this is roughly the distance. Or 90 degrees. Yeah, roughly like that. Okay, so it is a pretty spread finger like that. So I'm going to move like this. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to look up 90 degrees. Like so. And then we're going to look up. Okay, this is roughly up. And then we're going to check if the distance is comparable between the two. Yeah, it seems unfortunately the distance is not comparable. So what we're going to do here is we're going to go for a vertical speed of 100. And we're going to try it again. So I'm just going to have to do the 90-degree turn again. That should not be an issue here. Yeah, that's roughly 90 degrees here. Very spread out finger again. And now what we're going to do here is do the part upwards. Yeah, and that looks way better. That's roughly what I would estimate to be accurate, but let's just try it again. Double check it. The measurement here again. 90 degrees. Not an optimal place to do it, by the way. You want some kind of rectangular room. usually, but it is what it is, right? I think 100% is going to be what we are aiming for, and I'm just going to explain quickly what we're doing here. So, okay, that's basically, I think, gonna be a 1-to-1 ratio. And I'm quickly going to explain why I think this is better than what the devs did. Because this basically translates to the same 360 motion if you would do a vertical 360 to a horizontal 360. What the devs did was match the distance to screen based on the aspect ratio. And what that does basically, it means you need the same distance on your mat to reach the edge of the screens, right? If you want to, for example, she's at the edge now, to get to her, would be the same distance like that from here to here, right? You would have to move the mouse the same distance. The reason why I don't like that is because it makes the physical movement very slow when it goes for up and down, because it basically is visually identical. It might need an identical movement to go up and down, but I think it's way worse, right, when it comes to how your mouse feels, because it's very easy to do a circle like this. But with the other sensitivity, it feels always like you have to fight against, it feels very, very slow, basically. So you always want to have to one-on-one. And that's also the default, as far as I know, Counter-Strike, Overwatch, Valorant, etc. use. So yeah, and Quake I think too, but not 100% sure on that. Didn't play it for quite some time. Okay, I'm just gonna quickly do that. Mouse sensitivity is 41 at 1600 dpi. We're gonna update it. 1600. 0 and 41. And at 70 relative. So that was correct before. We're gonna check that again later. It still is correct, but then now at least we have our basic setup. I think it's a vast improvement to increase the range of the slider. One of the basic amateur mistakes is, first of all, not to enable the user to input a number here. And second of all, to make the slider in range so limited that either the mouse is way too fast. Mostly it's way too fast, right? They never go low enough, so you have to really lower the DPI on your mouse, and it gets really annoying. So always have a huge range on mouse sensitivities. Optimally, you would have an instant conversion to a metric or imperial units, but if that doesn't happen, just have a huge range or even a free set, almost free setting where the user can just input any number they want and be as accurate as possible. And even modern engines in games like Overwatch, well, modern, you're right, in modern games like Valorant, Overwatch and all that, there still is a bit more potential for more digits, right? Because they usually don't let you fine-tune it just enough to really get closer and closer to the unit you want, because you're never going to hit it exactly, right? Because it's dependent on FOV and all the engine stuff. But you still want to have a game that has the option to get as close as possible. So yeah, this is way better than before, where we had to be at 4 or 5 here, and that was really pushing the limit, right? And then we had to change the DPI for the fine tuning. Yeah, it was super annoying. This is way, way better. Yeah, VSync in game, no FPS limit. And this warning is kind of stupid, right? It may, yeah, sure. If your CPU and GPU overheats, that's always a hardware issue, right? It's not a software issue. So yeah, if you have a shitty setup, not having an FPS limit can fuck it. But realistically, if you have a bad CPU and bad GPU, you're gonna hit the max values anyway. Yeah. So I have no limit here because I have it in the NVIDIA control panel on. So what I'm gonna do here is press return. And now we should still be limited by the other things. What's not present, and in my opinion not really necessary, but would be nice to have, is DLSS, and especially reflex is missing in the game. But it runs pretty well as far as I know when it comes to early access, but then again, I have a really good PC. I have a 4090 and 13,900K, so that's not really an issue. So I always max out the FPS when I play at 1044p. Yeah, we could also go for 4K, but there's, I think, almost no visual benefit beyond a little bit more anti-aliasing in the game. Better anti-aliasing, and yeah. The reason why I go for 103 FOV is because it's Valorant's and Overwatch's preferred FOV, and I just played these games a lot. I think it's a great sweet spot between for the distance I'm playing from, right? Because I'm actually pretty close when I play FPS to the screen. So I like a bit higher FOV, but not super high. Yeah, and by the way, if you play different games, there's something I always mention from time to time is that I'm pretty close to the screen because the screen's kind of big. And there's an optimal viewing distance that doesn't strain your eyes too much. And some games really profit from you being further away. But FPS is great if you're close, for a lot of them, because things can get very small far away, right? You have to see things far away. You can tell the difference here between her being up front and here is like she's really small already here. So it's good to be closer, which is why a lot of pros are also really close to the screen. But one of the reasons why other games don't profit from that is especially 2D games, right? If you have 2D game, you want to usually see a flat game, right? A side scroller or top-down game. You usually want to see everything at once, right? The borders of the screen are super important when it comes to information, and because something might scroll in and whatever. So there, the distance usually should be a bit further away, so you can easily see the entire screen and don't have to move your eyes or head too much. But not too far away, because then, of course, you already see everything and just gets smaller. So yeah, but there, the viewing distance is a bit further away. So like the same thing with the television when you watch movies or play games or other things. You just want to have for movies, being close is kind of okay, but if you want to watch the entire screen, you want to be further away. So yeah. Hey Apricon, everything fine on your end? And I don't know why today my tongue is feels a bit weird. Just had too much pussy. No, I'm just joking. I mean, I do have a lot of pussy, but that's not the reason today. Janine's actually gone for work for a week, so not a week, for 5 days. Yeah, so unfortunately, that's not the issue today. Okay, but so far, I'm sorry for having this slow setup here. We still have to do the relative sensitivity, but that's something I think the devs already nailed by default. Okay, so we have hold to sprint. Why did you even ask in the options? We want to have toggle. No, I want to toggle. Oh shit, I'm an idiot. I just fucked the controls that I just did. And I'm also going to explain why don't I want to have hit markers, because basically they occlude stuff, right? It takes away information you need, because knowing if you hit the enemy or not, it's going to happen anyway in a way or another, right? You know if you hit him or not, but it's something you know for very casual games where just hitting them is enough to know that you hit them, or for aim assist. But if you really want to track the enemy well, everything you remove from the center of the screen actually is a you know, something good. So I don't like hit markers. And also you have hit feedback in the game, so the enemy flashes, which is an advantage, and you also have HP bars, so there is no reason for hit indicators or hit markers in this case. But I still want to go and change the sprint mode to toggle. Okay, no, it works again. I kind of fucked that up. The reason why I like toggle more is simply because I like if you can slide in a game, like you can in this one. The fact that you can just, you know, go the way I hold the keyboard is a very classic way to hold the keyboard. It's slightly tilted, and what you can do then is sprint and slide easily, right? So I really like the sprint toggle mechanic instead. It's been a while since I played a mouse and keyboard game, by the way. The last game we played was Cyberpunk, then I just, for whatever reason, didn't play it for quite some time. Yeah, okay, so there's jumping in the game, and there's also double jump, and the game, as far as I remember, does not have an increased jump height when you press the button longer, but actually they changed that. Incredible. Yeah, so holding the button longer now makes you jump. So this is short and this is long. So there now is a variable jump height, I would argue this is a pro if you want to do precision platforming, but a downside if you just want to reach maximum height, because what you usually do is tap for double jump height, and now you're going to have to hold the jump button to jump at maximum height. I'm not a fan of that, and I would have liked an option to disable the variable jump height here. Yeah, so here there should be an additional option in my opinion, because if for precision platformers, holding stuff is cool, but in an FPS, right, you just want to jump as high as you can usually. So I mean, there are some platforming sections in the game, but even then I still think it's a bit unnecessary in this game. Yeah, I don't even know if it always was like that, but we're gonna see. Okay, so now we're gonna learn to double jump. Okay, we have an ability which makes us invulnerable and consumes battery. You can turn it on and off to save battery. The battery regenerates over time. In the middle of the screen now on the bottom, we can see the energy. Yeah, basically we can toggle it on and off. Okay, left click is fire. Yeah, when we take damage, our HP is reduced, and we have a section which is converted to scratch damage. And when we're at 0 HP, we will end our run. Yeah, and healing cells will quickly disappear, but if we pick them up, they're gonna heal our scratch damage pretty quickly and restore a small amount of our HP. So once the scrap damage is filled, which goes pretty quickly, we are going to regenerate very, very slowly the additional health, right? So it's not going to be as quick. And so they didn't change that from the early access version. In the early access version, they experimented a lot, so there were very different systems for HP, progression, all that stuff. So I'm expecting the game to be pretty close to the version before release. I wouldn't be surprised to see the one or a few systems maybe overhauled significantly, but I don't expect it too much, right? I expect more content, and not really too many changes to the core aspects anymore. Using the repair robot repairs all of your scratch damage and restores a part of your health. Yeah, so that's basically a healing station we're gonna find in the game. Yeah, I really have to be careful because I'm kind of I've played so much played this game for so long that I'm kind of in autopilot. And this is the tutorial, and I don't want to miss anything new, so I have to be a bit more careful about reading stuff here. Okay, taking down an enemy grants you experience. When your experience bar is full, you level up, increasing your power and health. Okay. And also, you get a new perk, which is the main benefit, I guess. Well, getting the healing is also kind of nice sometimes. Okay, while Bastion is active, increases weapon damage by 30%, fire rate by 30, and movement speed by 18. That's really good. Transforms Bash into Bonk Hammer, increases damage by 50%, Bash takedowns by 6%, drops 6 additional healing cells. I think this one is pretty good. The other one is probably good for melee builds, but yeah. The alternate fire on the weapon at the moment is right click. Do you want to have the bubble on right click instead? I mean, I think I do actually for this class. So what we're going to do here, and this is one of the things I don't like as much because I'm pretty finicky when it comes to controls. I really like setting it up in a more detail-oriented way. And in this case, you unfortunately can't do a setup per class. So at the moment we have one, so it's not a big issue. But once you get more classes, it's going to be annoying to always have to swap between the controls for the individual classes. Yeah, because I prefer it having it on the right click here, and the additional alternate fire modes from weapons I usually don't use too much, so I like to have them on queue. Yeah. Oh, the healing bot looks different. Big boy now. I crafted a repair bot. Use it to heal yourself. The text progresses automatically. Usually not really optimal. If stuff is not, read out by the game. So if there's no voiceover, I prefer actually having to click away stuff. So it's kind of easy to miss information that way. Could you check out what's inside that weird structure for me? Because this basically tells you how fast you need to read, right? Listening is usually very consistent between humans, but reading could be very, very different. And one of the great things the game has is the minimap. The minimap is really, really well made. I mean, it does have a little bit of stuttering. I can't remember the game that the game had before, but that's not an issue. I mean, it doesn't tear, right? As far as I know, the game should not tear. And if it should, we just need to restart and limit the FPS and NVIDIA control panel again. No, it seems to run fine. Okay, one of the things the game really does amazingly well, at least in early access it did, is the mini-map really conveys easily where you need to go, right? It's so smart. You will see later on it's going to color the regions, so you know which path is a dead end or leads to a power-up and stuff like that. That looks really cool. I don't know if this is new too, the effect here. The visuals also have been upgraded significantly during the early access period, a little bit comparable to maybe how Hades handled the early access phase. Okay, so this is a jumping puzzle, the one I kind of mentioned before. And now we can select a new weapon. I'm gonna go for the bull shotgun here. And one of the things I really like about the game is how stuff feels. Oh, you can still bunny hop, that's great. You can bunny hop in the game, which makes speedrunning the game really fun. Or annoying, depending on if you like the mechanic or not. Awesome, you found some firepower, let's move on then. I'm trying to read the stuff, but I just might actually just read it myself. I don't know, it's hard to tell for this game. Because it's so gameplay oriented, I don't know how important the story is gonna be. Yeah. And now I want to press Q to activate my shield. Yeah, sounds cool. Yeah, so the gunplay in the game is really good. A bit, I wouldn't say unfortunately, but since Deadlink came out and also had really good gunplay, I think since this game still has a way more gun variety, I still think it's way better when it comes to the overall average gun feeling. But Deadlink, every single gun in the game basically feels very, very good, and also has great feedback. I still think this game is a bit better when it comes to how the game handles the FPS section, but it's way more varied and it has more skill-based stuff, and Deadlink is basically a bit more flashy, but it still feels very, very good, right? Both games are kind of different. But if I would have to choose one over the other, it really depends on what you like, right? If you really like just the visceral explosion stuff and really want to have some bang, right, then probably Deadlink is a bit more impactful. But if you want to have a bit more nuance and different play styles and just a bit more, normal feeling, not over the top feeling, then I think this game has a very good gunplay too. And for sure, like a billion times better than Gunfire Reborn, because this is, in my opinion, just Gunfire Reborn as a real FPS, which might be a downside depending if you even like real FPS, right? Because it's very skill-based compared to Gunfire. Okay, different skill maybe, but still skill-based. The control panel displays information about the map, your class, weapon perks, and more. Yeah, so can you use tab to access it? And one of the things the game does is pause in certain areas. So here it paused for us, the timer. And the timer basically is very important when it comes to scoring. And scoring also leads to, I think, more rewards, so you're incentivized to go a bit quicker. Sorry, I'm kind of... Oh, right. Yeah, that's really unfortunate. We rebound the keys here. We can't do that, unfortunately, so we have to go back into the controls and go for next weapon and previous weapon here. Yeah, rebinding those is... why don't I like to do that? Okay, now it's really hard to tell if up is up or down is down. Kind of hard to tell. Yeah, the icon for up and down is very hard to read from this perspective. I think we got it right. And the reason why I don't like to go up and down with the mouse is just basically because the Superlight, the G Pro Superlight, has issues when it comes to stability. So basically the mouse wheel sometimes skips up or down depending on what you do, even though you're not moving the mouse wheel, right? So it's kind of unstable. Sometimes it just swaps your weapon mid-fight, and I really don't like having weapon swap on mouse wheel because of that, just because the hardware isn't that great. Oh yeah, we can recognize this part is the base camp. Hey Duke! Oh, now that I read your name, I forgot to add you after the stream because I immediately went to eat. So yeah, I streamed last second until I ate, and then since my girlfriend left for 5 days, I spent the entire evening with her and didn't even think about gaming. I'm gonna try to do it this time after the stream. If you want to, you can also just join the Discord server and add me in Discord. That way it's going to happen 100% because I'm actually going to be reminded of it. So if you just type !Discord and then you can find me there on the server and just usually post in general or whatever and just add me in Discord. And then I can see the notification and certainly won't forget. Because I have a notification. Okay, so basically this is the base camp, right? We're gonna see this one a bit more later. And now we're gonna see... Oh yeah, right, we're basically here. As you can see, it is a bit different from the last time we saw it in early access. It's basically... yeah, it's basically completely desolated at the moment, right? We have to rebuild the entire thing. Okay, repairing the generator. Oh, it just taught us how to get out of status effects, which I really like, by the way. Yeah, I have to say something about that. I think the stun mechanic is kind of cheap when you get hit by the ground targeting effect, because I think in first-person games, ground targeting is not so great, so the game sometimes has enemies, and especially the stun enemy, that uses ground target effects to stun you. In my opinion, I don't like that too much, but I like how you get out of the stun by doing the minigame, tapping the keys with a little bit of reaction time. That's cool, but just the way the stun is applied in the game, which attacks apply it, right, is what I didn't like too much in early access, but it was not a big deal. It was just like a small part of the game. Sure, let's repair the generator here. Okay, it took a few days. Interesting. Okay, so this is the base camp. Welcome to our base camp. We'll handle all the expeditions from here. Feel free to take a tour and make yourself at home. So we have a museum, workshop, multiplayer section, locker room, difficulty, and start. Yeah, the game recommends me hard. And I would also recommend you play it on hard. Just because it's a roguelite, right? If you play it on easy, you're just gonna breeze through the game probably. And I like that there are difficulties, but I would also recommend hard for you, right? Or just go with the standard difficulty. I don't know why he recommends hard for me, because maybe I just beat the entire early access version on the highest difficulty with every class and S-rank them too, so maybe the game has a recollection of that, but for sure we're gonna start on hard here. There's no reason why we would start on anything lower than that. And the game is really difficult in higher difficulty, so if you're not a good FPS player, you're gonna probably struggle a little bit more than usual, because the game really gets difficult there. So yeah, but there are difficulties, so I wouldn't say it's a game that's necessarily a difficult game, but just know that it can get difficult if you like that. And it really gets difficult. Hard is actually hard. Compared to a lot of other games where you just press hard and it's just like super easy. It's more like maybe God of War when you go on the hardest difficulty, but it doesn't get annoying, right? Okay, maybe bad comparison. It still is a challenging game. But this is maybe only the first, by the way, hard difficulty here, because the early access difficulty basically was a placeholder, so maybe the game will be very different later on. This looks so cool. It looks a little bit like a Western... like a how would you call it, steampunk, futuristic Western mix. I don't know what you call it, because steampunk is more like, it's different. Western punk? I have no idea. Cyber Western? I don't know what you call it. But what's really cool here, I like this small section here, is basically the co-op section. And you can just go here and then you can access your session ID, which is unfortunately censored here because I don't want to go and have play. I want to play alone at the moment. But in general, you have full co-op stuff here, and it's also cute. Like they added a little bit of retro gaming hardware here, a Go board, and I just thought about it. Is a Go board the same as a chess board? The easiest way to get mine actually is just to type !Discord. That's the easiest way to get my ID. Yeah, because you're gonna see me on the server and you can just right click or whatever, tap me with the phone and just add me there is the easiest way. And this one is cool. That's funny, that's really funny. Wait, let me show you. This one is a traditional Japanese toy. I don't know if you can see it actually. I don't know if I can show it, if you can see it. It's called a Temari as far as I know, right? I can't read Japanese, so I don't know. It's for Kodamas, type G. Kodama is child in Japanese, and everything else here is... No, it's a kendama, right? No, Kodama is a kendama. I don't know what the fuck a child is a kendama. Japan Kendama Association. Then it's called a kendama. I don't really know. I'm bad with things. Kodama is a child. Kendama is probably the toy name. I didn't unpack it yet because it's actually for my niece. But that's what you see here, right? It has a red ball here, but here is a blue ball. And that's the wooden thing. It's really hard to see maybe for you, but because I can't unpack it because I want to give it like that to her. And it's like from Japan, right? It's right. We bought it there. So you should be able to fucking read something when the cam actually decides to focus on it. Yeah, here you can tell, right? It's original Japanese thing. We bought it in a toy store there. Well, it wasn't a toy store actually. It was more like a tech store where we bought a Switch controller because mine broke down. Wait, did he actually did the bots delete the message? Is my Discord name the same as Twitch? I don't know if it's Skyleaf or Blue Skyleaf, but the thing is in Twitch you have I think the hashtags, so you need a number. Really the easiest way is just to go on the server, if it works. I don't know why it actually deleted the link. So if you type this one, I can do it too. I don't know why I did it for you. You can just click the link and basically you're gonna get access to the Discord and also my name. Yeah, that's really the easiest way. Okay, so this is basically cool that they added that there. That's cute. I don't know what that is, but you can tell they kind of like cowboys. And don't worry, the game has a varied biomes, but the base layer basically here is the base is going to be in this canyon here. This is a robot radio that's dancing, and you can tell at least I think you can tell easily that the devs really like games, right? They really put a lot of love into this game. It's not a thrown out, right? I just want to make a big fast buck or anything. You can really tell there was a lot of love and work put into the game. Okay, but this basically is an interactive menu, if you want to put it like that. This is a museum. I don't know what it does actually. This is new. Okay, so it is basically a codex, I think. Okay, the museum basically is a codex. Okay, that's cool. This is the workshop. This is going to be where we're going to upgrade our camp. At the moment we don't have any branches, so we can't do anything here. Yeah, this is the class selector. Wow, there's this many classes by now? Wait, no, this is an ability. Wait, how does it work? These are the classes, right? And you have to do certain things to get them, and the game actually tells you, at least gives you a hint to what you need to do. And here, you can select stuff, I guess. Oh no, these are the specific, class-specific upgrades which we found so far. Okay, we didn't see those before, so we can basically tell what you can get in the game. I don't know if you can interact with these later on. Okay, but as you can see, Veteran increases weapon impact by 10, magazine by 25, and energy by 15. Bastion has a 16-second battery, which regenerates over time when not deployed. 16 seconds? What? I'm kind of confused. Okay, 3 seconds uptime? I guess just it has a cooldown of 16 seconds. I don't know what exactly they mean with a battery here. Okay, and you can bash, melee attack applying high impact, dealing 55 damage. I think impact is just knockback in the game. And you get 2 additional healing cells when you kill them with melee. Hits against bosses drop 3 healing cells. Guess you can heal yourself during a boss fight, which might be good depending on how you play. Okay, but yeah, here's the difficulty selector, which also looks different. Everything basically looks a little bit different. And what's really cool about the game is this. Wait, I don't know. You can't climb in the game, so I'm gonna have to like this. But what's really cool about the game is that you can go on these rails and just chill around, and you know, go around the entire level like this. That's, I think, is a really cool touch. And there are also mechanics which interact with that, but I think they didn't implement it as aggressively as they could have, because I think they're more of a nice gimmick, but not really a central gameplay element, so you don't really need to use them at any time. So if you don't like the mechanic, you're not going to have to interface with it. But it's really cool. I like that they added it to the game. And also the game sometimes rewards exploration, which it might not in this case, so I don't know, maybe there's something hidden up here, but there also might not be, so yeah. And like I said, I'm not that warmed up, and it's pretty cold in here, so we're gonna fuck up a lot of things at the start, but I hope it's gonna get better later on. Have you played this game before, or am I tripping? Yes, we played it a lot in early access, over 100 hours actually. Not all of them, those hours were played on stream, but yeah, it's basically the release version of that game. Okay, now we can see hard here. These are the 4 difficulties. An enemy have 15% more HP, 10% more damage, and attack 10% faster. I think that's what aggressiveness is. Might also be movement speed, I have no idea. Or a mix of both. And you get 1 bonus range per level. And this basically is very, very mild, right? And since they still have the scaling, I would expect there to be a lot more difficulties later on. But what we're going to